Hello and Nyajongs, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome back to Meng's Barbershop, where I cut hair, we have a few beers, and we talk. Today's special guest is my good friend, Tonzer. Come on down, bro.
Then,
How you doing, Scott? That's Look up the screen, right? Come on down, bro. How you doing?
What's going on, bro?
Glad you can make it.
Yes.
Glad you can make it. Have a seat. I'm just gonna put this on real quick, and then we got two out from okay. So we can hear you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There we go. I'm gonna tuck this in. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. Got you all set up. May I remove your hat?
Or... Oh, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
There's not much up there.
All
so
right.
you'll know what to do, man.
Yeah.
Yep. No more blood flow up there anymore.
Yeah. Hey, that's what happens when you get married, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine was before marriage for sure. Definitely continued faster after.
Yeah. Man, so you was in Washington.
Washington, yes.
Yeah, and you were up there for a while. But before then, where were you at again?
Actually, we lived in Washington most of my life. Man.
Oh, okay.
So getting into the crypto game and investing and stuff like that. This is actually right after we moved back from Crescent City.
Oh, okay.
So moving back up there, I mean, when we moved to Crescent City, that was like right after the real estate market crash, 2008.
Yeah.
So we moved here, ended up moving back up there, and worked at a few sushi restaurants, at a few old workplaces I used to work at.
Yeah, I remember you made the best sushi rolls, man.
It was all right, man.
You had that soft hand, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But you know how it is. You go through life, you want to make more money, so you start going through a lot of things and researching, and by the time you know it, I got into stocks, investing, eTrade.com, making accounts, and by that time I was researching about all that stuff, getting into trying to look at tech stocks and all that, because I mean those are kind of like the after prime times of when the stocks boomed. Everybody's looking at stocks, for the tech stocks. So during that time, I mean, I'm still new, don't really know too much. So all you can do is read and try to get as much information as you can. But during those days, there wasn't really too much information, right? So you would definitely have to do a lot of in-depth research. But eventually, I found some guys I took some videos for, and they were actually all, traders for a stock market. And eventually I kind of hung around with them a little bit. They got me into, trading and learning how to trade here and there, learning the emotional game.
Oh yeah,
You're
man.
Right.
That's the biggest part, man. You gotta stay emotionally, we don't get emotionally attached,
Right. It's a lot about emotional discipline, right? So,
yes.
I mean, nobody likes to put their money into the bank and see their numbers start dropping, right? So like in the bank, right? Like banks, they invest our money, so we just only get to see the front faces of what we put in, but in the back end, they're putting it into different mini assets that we don't see, So not too many people realize those things, but
yes,
when you realize what the financial banksters and financial institutions do, that's what they pretty much do, right?
Yeah, I really got into investing in crypto and stuff like that, because I was putting my money into 401k. All they do is they put it in stocks too.
Right.
And so, like, I know I can do a better job than what they're doing.
Right.
And I like high risk, high reward. Right. Because if you don't put nothing in or you don't risk something, then you're not going to gain nothing. And so that's how I got into investing. And if anybody is interested in investing, I'll put all my links in the description below. And, click on that link, put some money in and get started. It's going to help me a little bit. It's going to help you a little bit. And hopefully it makes us very rich people someday. That's the game,
So, I mean, Dang. So you've been into it for quite some time too, then yourself, huh?
Yeah. You know, I was a early Doge. Well, not early enough.
Okay.
But I was an early Doge investor. I put you know, my whole savings in there when it was like 5 cents, right?
Okay, very nice.
Yeah. And currently, right now, it's sitting at like 7 cents or something like that.
Right.
And so I'm still up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not up as much as I was when it was 72 cents.
right.
I could have bought a house. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, like I mean, yeah, it's a emotional roller coaster. I mean, if it depends what kind of trader you are, you know, and if you're into depth, like if you use certain platforms that have certain indicators that let you know, like when to sell, when to you know, buy back in. But you know, that cycle is kind of over now. But I mean, not too long now. I mean, that cycle's about about to begin. So
you know, when this is like the golden opportunity for people to, like, we're now at the very beginning. You know, like if you buy Bitcoin or anything, you're at an 80% discount from where it was, right? So you buy it now, and then you hold on to it, and it's gonna go back up to the all-time high that it was, and you'll be a rich person. You know. Would you like me to shave all of this?
Oh, go right ahead.
Okay,
man.
cool.
Yep. Don't be shy.
All right. I just don't know how much you take off, you know what I mean? All that stuff,
I usually just go pretty much zero.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, eventually I started reading about Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
You know, about 2011, 2012, around there. It was an interesting concept, but I don't, you know, at that time I didn't know much about the monetary side of things, of finances. I didn't really know too much about finances in general. Right? I did not have the financial literacy yet. And so, you know, I was just kind of like throwing my money in and out, just playing with those cycles during that time.
Yeah.
But see, during those times, you couldn't, it was hard to buy Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
So what I eventually did was you would send your money to somebody that you pretty much didn't know who was. And they would buy it for you in China, right? And then they would send you the pretty much the barcode,
like the confirmation that, you know.
Exactly, confirmation.
Wow.
And then eventually you'd go online, go to a website that it takes you to, and then you can go and claim it there with your barcode and your word phrases. And so, you know, from there, I mean, you can transfer it back and forth, but even during those times when I had it in 2013, all the way to, I'd say 2016, there wasn't any platforms or really anything. And then, you know, during that time, I was so big into stocks.
Stocks, yes.
That the crypto realm was still very brand new to me. You know, not up until 2016, 2017, when I started really looking at it like, hey, these numbers are going crazy, man. I mean, the gains I was making in, you know, crypto or Bitcoin was just way more than what I was gaining in stocks, right? I mean, stocks, I mean, if you wanted to make good money, and you know, you'd have to play with a little bit of margin, right? You know.
Yes.
And so you'd have to take, you know, loans here and there, just so that you can create, you know, you take it, you know, put $1,000, get like a, you know, 10x margin on there, right? I mean, you know, 10% gain right there. I mean, $100, you'd make pretty much 100% back with the, you know, 10x margin. But, you know, that's super risky, right? And during those times, I mean, you didn't know much about high risk trading, so you know, you don't put any stop losses in, and you you know, you
stop losses, yes.
You pretty much, you know, blow out your account.
Yeah.
So
you know, when I tell a lot of people to get into crypto, right, and invest, they say it's kind of like gambling, which in a sense it is, but in a sense it's not, right? Because if you never sell at a loss, you never lose your coins, right, or your tokens, and so you're never actually at a negative. You see, they compare it to like credit debt. When you're in the red, you're actually in a negative, but you're never in the negative if you hold your coins, right?
You're. I mean, you know, essentially, if you don't have no leverage trading, or you're holding for a long term. I mean, essentially, your benefit of you know, strategy is going to be to hold. I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure you've done it before. You know, sell when markets are going down, and you're like, crap, going through the gutter, right? But
Yeah.
eventually you learn, right? Like,
Oh, you have to do it. You have to learn.
right. You have to
from that.
learn, right?
Yeah.
Markets you eventually go back up. It's just the fact that your emotions play because
Yes.
you don't realize how the markets work yet. Like
Yeah.
Until you get the experience of
Yeah.
losing.
Yeah. That's
Right.
why I love average costs into the
Right,
market, right?
right.
Like no matter what the price is, you put a little bit in at a certain time a week, and it just buys. And you actually eventually make money because it goes high, it goes low, and you average your average cost that you buy in is low, so you're actually making money. Yeah. So when you bought Bitcoin back in 2013, how many did you buy?
66.
66.
66.
Okay, and how much did that cost you back in the day?
Low over $1,000.
Oh, okay.
In
Okay.
2013, 2012.
Back then, that was still a lot of money,
still a lot
right?
of
You know what I
money,
mean? It was a lot of
man,
money. And you sent it to a Chinaman.
Chinaman,
Yeah.
And,
And-
eventually.
Yeah, and then he
buys
bought it for you. And
Yeah.
then, okay.
Because, I mean, he was pretty much making money too as well.
Oh, of course.
I
He
mean,
had to be.
People were asking him to buy. And then, during that time, I mean, like, crypto was kind of unheard of. It was called internet money. It was called, and people were talking about what crypto was being talked about in 2018, right? Was that it was going to be the new internet money, all that stuff. And having talks like that back in 2012, 2013, and that was maybe 3-4 years after the big, market crash in 2008. People were kind of hopeless. That was kind of the downturn in the low levels of the economy, right, globally. So and that was because of the whole financial monetary system that was pretty much losing its stability over the currencies, over the dollars. Too much high margin, too much borrowing with institutions and banks, and eventually, it kind of fell on itself. And we're kind of right there right now, We're back at what 2008 was, just on a larger scale.
Yeah.
So right now we're kind of like in the real crash and burn. What 2008 was what we thought 2008 was gonna be is actually happening right now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, during that time I didn't really pay too much attention because during that time there wasn't really just enough information. And, a lot of your information came from like Reddit, 4chan, from all these kind of darker websites, right?
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're reading, right?
Uh-huh.
What you're reading is like a bunch of nerds on the internet just talking about monetary systems.
You should do this and you should do that, right? Yeah. And so when you bought it in 2013, you left it, right? You just I'm just gonna leave it, just gonna see where it goes.
Held it all the way until 2017.
And 2017 is when
Sold around 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, sold around 10,000, and then it just kept going up, right? Whew. I didn't realize, I didn't understand much about the Bitcoin market cycles or the halvings until after, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, I took a huge loss after because you know how it is. You get to the euphoria.
Oh,
Everybody's like, it's gonna keep going.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Of course. That's what I did with Doge,
And during that time, you don't know many traders, right? A lot of my stock friends were like, dude, it's good that you sold, but don't go back in.
Yeah.
I eventually ended up going back in, but
of course.
I went into the foreign exchange though. And missed the stop loss. Yeah. And so it blew out the whole account.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah, right. You can only imagine the grief that somebody goes through. That
Oh,
time.
bro, yeah, that's life changing.
Life changing.
Yeah.
You got life changing money, and it goes back to, really life changing. Financially painful.
Yeah.
But it's something to learn from because once you go through that, right? Once you go through that loss, or you never sold at the top, right? You relook at yourself, you relook at your strategy, and you kind of look at it like, you know what, the smartest thing you could do is to reduce the risk that you're already holding while in profit. Because markets, no matter what, they're always gonna sell off.
Yeah.
Right. Because the thing is what you have to understand is all these traders are looking at, like experienced guys are looking at the same indicators. Right?
Yeah.
And so when they see the relative strength index, at a high, you're seeing the MACD at an all-time high. All these traders know to sell to reduce the risk, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you have all the newbies that are just buying in, thinking it's going to go up forever,
Yeah.
but they don't realize that people, the people on the top that are already in profit are already selling off.
Oh yeah.
So that's just the game. That's just how it goes. I mean, the only reason why something would go even massively higher is based off what they call now, like, utility. Right? If the crypto has a massive adoption, that's going to go at scale.
Yeah.
Eventually, that's going to skyrocket, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Regulations are not set in yet, so things are still very, speculative.
Yeah, and people say regulation is bad, but I honestly think regulation might be good. Because the banks, right, big like Amazon and Walmart, all that stuff, they want to get in there because they know
the big money wants to get
exactly, and that. So, isn't it correct that only about 5, maybe 10% of the world's population?
Oh, it's way less, man. But they say it's less than 5%.
Yeah, so less of the world's population, the less than 5% of the world's population has invested into crypto, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if it goes up to 10%. Imagine it goes up to 20%, right? If it was like the Visa, MasterCard, right? Because Visa is not just a card; it's actually a brand. It's a company that makes money off of it, right? But people don't know that, right? Yeah, exactly. And so they make microtransactions, and that's how they get paid. But like everybody uses some kind of Visa card. Imagine if it comes to that.
So
you're so knowledgeable about this. Are you going to start a channel? You're going to do something with that? You're going to teach people?
So I'm getting ready to start a channel. Getting ready to start a consulting business. So that,
okay.
People can get more of an eyes on. Because I mean, think about it. If you had a chance to really see and understand the landscape of how the .com era came to be.
Yes.
Right? I mean, .com era, people were just buying, pet.com, sports.com.
Yeah.
Right? And so eventually, I mean, like, they made the money, but they didn't realize that a lot of these .coms didn't make it.
No.
Right?
No.
There's only a very small handful. And it's going to be the same thing right now.
Yeah.
It's just like Warren Buffett says, every 10 years, look at all the top best, assets in the world. They're always changing. They're always changing. There's only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or few that make it through all those different generations. But then everything else always changes. It's kind of like how when Amazon popped out, right?
Yeah.
And Sears, there's conflicts of Sears and Shopko and Kmart like laughing at Amazon saying, a bunch of nerds selling books on the internet. Doesn't sound too special, but you look at it now, they're selling everything.
Oh yeah.
Wiping out the whole industry. So,
oh dude, yeah.
So like that's kind of like, you kind of have to start giving yourself that, why is it that these companies killed it? And they saw themselves destroying the industry before it even got swallowed, right? So you got to kind of see that in the crypto industry, kind of like
for sure,
the financial sector.
Yeah,
how banks move, right? People are usually like, oh, Venmo stuff. Oh, I get money on the go, and it's like on the front end, but on the back end, they're taking massive risk.
Oh yeah,
of transferring money.
Right? Yeah,
because usually transfers of money take days on the back end, right?
Yeah,
and when now institutions are actually going to be using this, crypto, it's just the fact that they're waiting for regulations. Everything has to go through regulations, but that's like the bond market, or like parts of like the stock market. Once regulations went through, these assets went flying because the big money came in, right? And so that
for if they're thinking about investing or if they're on the fence about it, right? Like
a few moments later,
everything's back. You're back. We're back. All right.
So this is not financial advice, but this is personal advice from my experiences. If you had the chance to invest money into tech stocks when they were in the beginning stages, it would be the best time right now. If not, that's totally fine. But do your research. Everybody has a different criteria, different way of thinking, different kind of clarity. But if you look at what's going on in the world right now, currencies are losing their value on a crazy scale. If you're looking at prices jumping, it's because money is losing value.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah.
want to know where to put your money in, because the poor folks with, the poor mindset, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that's all of us that we've all gone through.
Yeah.
You want to know where to put your money,
Yes,
right? You don't
yes.
want to just keep holding on to it and spending on things that lose value consistently, right? Because eventually, the water runs dry. You want to put it into things that grow your money.
Yeah.
And so, people will say stocks are, scams or this and that. But what you really want to know is what's growing your money and why is it growing? And a lot of reasons why is because there's also other people putting their money in there, and it causes value to jump, right? And so you want to know where to put your money in, because if you really look at it, you're at a young age and you want to retire soon, it's going to be way tougher to retire without having a 401k or without having some kind of asset to put in money, because honest truth, you don't want to be 60 and have nothing that you were working for.
Just to piggyback up what you said, it's like $10,000 now underneath your bed is not going to be $10,000 later on, right?
That purchasing power.
Exactly,
right?
exactly, because the inflation, the money value goes down, all that stuff. Even if you put it into a bank account, you get such a little, percentage rate that it doesn't, might as well just use it, So I think that investing into stocks, investing into crypto, that is the future, because that's the way it is, I was doing a little research on the internet, right? What's Web 1, what's Web 2, what's Web 3, right? Basically, Web 2 and Web 3, it's like Web 3, you can own a part of the internet, right? Yeah. So whatever that is, you can own, and it's like a digital asset. You just own that as property. And so that just blows my mind,
So here's instead of wandering off on my advice now, here's the best advice I could give, is just have a long-term vision in your investment. Don't be short-term, because you're eventually going to wreck yourself, right? And so have a long-term vision, and think of it like this, it could be similar to me and you. After having kids, you're wondering what's going to be in your kids' future. And so you're wondering how can you secure their future just a little bit, so that when their time comes to be our age, they can have a taste of what we did for them, before they became that age. And so that they can kind of persevere in some kind of way, and at the same time it can give that little financial oomph for them to jump and do what they want to do, or to find and discover what they want to do, because technically, financially, it's very hard to do things when you're not financially kind of secure. Right?
Exactly.
And it's very tough to even have a positive mindset when you don't have enough finances to kind of secure you to do things on a day-to-day life.
Yes.
And so you want to look at it in that kind of aspect of, like, you can save money for your children, but then by the time that money goes to your children, the purchasing power that you thought you saved for them, like you said, eventually becomes a lot less, because of how our financial monetary systems are created, how our asset-based systems and debt systems are made, because that's what it eventually is. And if you look out through history, houses, that we having these housing crashes or these financial crashes, everything else gets expensive over time. Nothing ever gets super cheap.
No.
Right? I mean, maybe the small things like, salt and stuff, they still, stay relatively cheap. But even in this inflationary time now, everything's going up.
Yeah.
You have things going up like 50 to 100%. And whether it's like, 50 cents going to $1, or $1 going to $2 or $3, you may not think it's a lot, but on the purchasing power on a percentage scale, that's a huge amount.
Oh, it is.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
So look in that in terms of, to help you give a better outlook for your future.
Yeah.
Because if you're just kind of going day in, day out, just working, to just get that paycheck or to put into that 401k, right now you have people's 401k is getting devoured.
Yep.
So research into these new assets, these new new age technologies, because eventually they're going to run everything in the future, and that future is not too far away, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Again, thank you so much for coming.
Hopefully that was cool.
Oh yeah, no, that was great, man. That was great. Thank you so much. Please stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna be here and we're gonna be talking more. So stay tuned. If you like these kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, especially this one that can help change someone's life and make them financial wealth. So take care and see you next time.
Take care, guys.